Alrighty guys, we are going to add to our notebooks. So first of all, in our table of contents, we are going to add translating, expressions, and equations. And that's going to go on page 4 and page 5. And so these should be the next 2 pages in your notebook or in your notes packet from textbook pickup. So I'm going to turn to page 3 or page 4 rather, and then page 5. Grab those. So the next 2 pages. First one has a lot of words on it, and that one we are going to fold again like a backwards book. So I'm just going to bring this page back till we get to the dotted line like that. And again, if you want to be cute, you can cut out each of these little doors. I should have done this beforehand. That's fine. You can sit with me for a second. Okay, that goes on page 4. And then we have this one here, which looks like that. And we have this middle line, and we're going to fold each short edge of the paper to that middle line to kind of get like this door in the middle, like French doors. And that one doesn't have any cute cutting, but I am going to want to tape both of these down. Grab a little tape, put that here. Got a little tape and get that there. Okay, so a couple of things to talk about, some vocabulary things. First of all, along the side here, phrases for translating verbal to algebraic or algebraic to verbal expressions. So the first thing I want to talk about here is we are going to be taking like English language sentences and rewriting them as math sentences or vice versa. Like I might have a math sentence and I have to write it out in like English words. Now, when I say the word expression, an expression is different than an equation. So an expression is a number sentence without an equal sign. So number sentence. Sentence. That looks wrong for some reason. Maybe that's wrong. I'm going to leave it. Without an equal sign. No equals. Okay, so we might have those sometimes, which just means anything under this little flappy here, you won't really be using. If you're looking at a mathematical sentence, like a string of numbers, but then there's no equal sign, you're not going to use any of these words. So like is, are, altogether, total, will be, sold for, like all those are really good equal words. Like is the best equal word. But if there's not an equal sign there, you're not going to use that word. Or if that word is not there, you don't have an equal sign in your math sentence. Versus over here we have the words equations. So we're translating sentences into equations or equations into sentences. And when I have an equation, that means that I have an equal sign. So we'll have an equal sign. So you will be using those is or altogether or total. You'll start using those words. Now, there's not much to really fill out on page 4. These are all just words that you can choose to use to represent addition or might be used to represent the symbol addition in a sentence. Now, plus is a really obvious one, but and is like a super good one that I love to use. And is like such a good addition word. Add, sum is another really good one. I feel like sometimes sum gets confused between addition and multiplication, but sum is a really good one. But I feel like a lot of these other ones are pretty obvious. Now, when we're talking subtraction can get a little tricky because subtraction is not commutative. I have to subtract in the order that I mean. I can't rearrange it because I'll get different answers. And so when we're talking about subtraction, we have to be very careful. And there are a couple words that I want to point out to you. Fewer than, fewer than, less than. Usually whenever there's a than behind it and it's implying subtraction, those are what I like to call turnarounds. Turn around, da, 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 da. If you don't know that song, ask your parents. Sing it for them. Those are turnaround words. So if I said something like 5 fewer than 7, that's 2. And I'm not doing 5 minus 7 right in that order. Otherwise, that'd be -2. So I turned the numbers around. So I said 5 fewer than 7, but I actually did 7 minus 5. So I swapped the orders of the numbers. So I turned them around. So those can kind of be tricky. Another type or another word that we're going to be looking for a lot is multiplication. So multiplication type words. Now times I feel like is really obvious, double, triple, but product is one that we forget a lot. Like product is a really good multiply word. Twice is like 2 times. Triple is like 3 times. But I feel like the rest of them are all kind of obvious. Increased by a factor of, that factor, that's really good multiply word. Some really good division words. Are quotient. That's one I feel like we forget a lot. Quotient. Per. But then I feel like divided by, that's pretty obvious. But to split something in half, or to split a third, or to split up, those are all really good divide words. Split up. Percent, we're going to talk about those soon. And ratios, we're going to talk about those soon. Those are both divide words for the most part. Then we got our equals words. So we talked about those a little bit, is being one of my faves. And then parenthesis words. So if I need to do something first, like if I really need to add first, or really need to subtract first and then multiply later, I might have to put things into parentheses. So if I want there to be parentheses involved in my problem, or if there are parentheses, times the sum of, you're going to see that you have 2 words there. Times, which is multiply, and then sum, which is add. So it's like our distributive property, times this sum of things over here. So times 2 things being added. Or the quantity of, quantity is one that's used a lot. Oops, I already used this color. Oh, well. But then twice the sum plus the difference. So I'm going to add and then subtract, or times the difference of, which is another one of those distributive property things that we talked about before. So if we try a few of these in here, the first door that we have, we are going to take English sentences and make them into math sentences. So twice a number divided by 2 is -9. So that is word right off the bat is such a good equals word. So it's almost like I'm going to write the equal sign right below it. And then whatever comes after it comes after it. So is -9 is going to be all by itself chilling over there. Now I just got to figure out all the rest of that stuff. So twice a number divided by 2. Well, I don't know what the number is, but I'm going to twice it, which is like times by a number. So I could call it X, or I could call it N, or I could call it M for Missouri, whatever you want to do. I feel like normally you guys like X. So twice a number divided by 2. Now, divided by can be the little bar with the dotties, but I usually like to do fractions. And divided by 2 is -9, which almost feels like 2 divided by 2, I could just do that. It's 1. But whatever. We don't have to solve anything. We're just rewriting. Okay, so another example could be a number b divided by 3 is 6 less than c. So there's that is again. I'm going to put my equal sign down. 6 less than c. Less than is like a subtraction, but it's one of those turn around. So even though the 6 is written down first, it's going to go last, and I'm going to subtract that from c. Now on the other side of my equal sign, and notice guys that I'm jumping around. I don't have to do it right in the order of a sentence. I know we read a sentence very intentionally left to right. You can do math from backwards to forwards, forwards to backwards, kind of however you want, a little bit. If I go back to the beginning though, a number b is divided by 3 is, and that's the rest of it. So b divided by 3, we got b divided by 3. And again, if you want to use a little with the dots over, you can, but that feels kind of elementary. Like you're older than that. Let's do better. Okay, another one. We got 10 more than x times 6 is 11 more than y times 4. So again, I always like to find that is word because that's where my equal sign's going. And then I write the things on either side. So what came before the is 10 more than 6 times, oh no, x times 6, I can't read. But more than is like that plus, and times is like times. So 10 more than x times 6. Well, normally when we times a letter and a number, we put the letter behind. So I'm going to rewrite that as 6x. Also, multiplication is commutative, so I can do that. It's all good. Then we have 11 more than, so there's more than again, that's plus, y times 4. So very similar on the other side, 11 plus 4y, again, because it's more appropriate to put numbers in front of letters. So let's jump over to the other one. Translating equations into sentences. So the math is here. We're going to write this out, and you can be creative if you want, or you can be really boring if you want. It's really up to you. So I could say something like 12 minus 2 times x is 5. Or if you want to get fancy, you could say, like, let's get a fancy word in here. X doubled less than 12 is 5. Because less than is one of those turnaround words. So I got real fancy up in here. Now, to be a little less fancy on the next one, I have a squared plus 3 times b is 7. Like, I feel like that's as straight up as you can be. We weren't doing any fancy stuff. I literally just took what I had in math and put it in English, and that's totally fine to do. You don't have to be fancy if you don't want to. Sometimes I feel like I want to get a fancy microphone and talk on here, but I haven't yet. But I might. Okay. Now this one is interesting, this next one, because these two things both need to be divided. So even though there aren't parentheses there, there's kind of low-key parentheses there, so sneaky. But that's only with division that happens. Okay, so I kind of have to use some parenthesis words here. So I might say the quantity of x plus 3 all divided by 2. And then let's get a good, let's take away 6 is 10. I'm just a sucker for is. I love is. Okay, let's jump back. The difference of x and y is the same as 3 times the sum of x into, oh my God. Oh, is the same as. Huh. That's my equals word. Okay. So the difference of x and y, the difference is when I subtract. And again, guys, I'm not like going back and looking at these words, but I mean, if you're not sure what the difference is, just come over here and look through your words and find difference, and then see that it's a subtraction word, and that's how I know to put subtraction there. I just kind of have them all memorized because I've done this for a lot of years. Is the same as, so equals 3 times the sum of, so I need to take the sum of something. So I need parentheses here. And I'm going to add some stuff up. X and 2. So X, 2. Okay. Ooh, the perimeter of a square. In one of our classes, we talked about perimeter of a square the other day when we were talking about area of a square. But perimeter is when I add all the sides. So the perimeter of a square is 4 times, oh, look at that. It tells you. The perimeter of a square is 4 times the length of a side. So perimeter, I'll put P for perimeter, is 4 times the length of a side. I'll call that S. So there you go. And then last but not least, over here, we have some parentheses words, so we might want to think of something fun there, but we'll do 5 times the quantity of x plus 4 is the same as, ooh, that's fun, the difference between x and y. Difference is a really good subtraction word. Okay, so you guys have some to try in a Google form. Hopefully it goes well. Let me know if you have any questions.